He rotated with health. So he didn't go.
You want to sit up front too? You're working for the company.
I'm going to learn more than I'll tell you.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right, all right. We're going to have people come and go, but it's 1 o'clock and we want to get started. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. And thank you for helping us out. Today we're talking about cover crops. Something old is now something new. There's no doubt about that. I was doing some research on cover crops, and I think they go back into Roman times. So it goes back thousands and thousands of years. If I'm wrong.
I have no idea.
Oh,
That sounds right.
Probably right. They don't look that old.
Bill does.
Yeah, right.
And Megan. There's 3 of them here. Well, 4 of them here, because they have a new employee in the back. And you can introduce yourself as well. It's open here. You can just kind of ask the audience for questions as well, but I'd like you to start off and just give a history, what you've got in mind, what you'd like to do, where you're going, what the future is. So take it away. I've got the camera rolling now.
Okay. Go ahead. All right, so Bill and I started our business in 2014, Iowa Cover Crop, and basically our business is we sell everything but corn or soybeans. So that's the one thing we do not sell. We call ourselves a specialty seed business, and we have staff and employees now, but our main focus is cover crops. And cover crops are a crop in between your 2 primary crops that either scavenge for nutrients or provide erosion control, any of those things. And then they, like you mentioned, old is new. They are now becoming much more popular for carbon sequestration, climate change. There's a lot of sustainability initiatives wrapped around.
Yeah, I was thinking about like the cycles that we go in, and before herbicides were just the way that you farmed. You had to use extended rotations, and you had more than just corn and beans. You had to break that cycle up with some small grains or some hay, this and that. And so then when your chemicals rose to prominence, you no longer had to do those things. So we just went corn bean. Kind of eliminated all that, the other pieces of the cycle. And we're finding out that might not be the best thing. We've got a lot of weed resistance now to those chemicals, and so I think we're going to get back to more extended rotations, or extending that rotation for the use of cover crops, breaking that weed cycle up a little bit, changing your timing. Oh, for Pete's sake! So in the early 1900s, there was a lot of oats, a fair amount of wheat, a lot of hay, and then for a while there, just corn and beans, and now we're starting to come back to those, a lot of oats, wheat, hay, not a lot, but a lot by perspective from what it was 10 years ago. So hopefully it continues to grow, and because I like doing that stuff there.
So the interesting thing about that is, when I was growing up, I wouldn't have known the difference between wheat and rye and barley and oats. But now these kids, they can tell the difference between all of them, can't you? You can tell the difference between all of them. And so on our farms now, where I'd say we're really unique, because Bill last year, how many crops did you raise last year?
I think I harvested 8 different crops off one field. So.
Name them.
Millet, buckwheat, oats, wheat, a couple different hay crops, like a grazing forage mix.
Smooth brome.
Smooth brome. Yep. And mostly just like stuff that I'm curious to see if I can do it. And so try it out, and then if there's a way that through our sales contacts, we can scale up the demand for those things. And we can start to really branch out and get away from just corner beans because they're kind of boring for us.
Did you break even on those 8 crops, or did you make money?
For the most part, so the oats and the wheat, because I sell to Iowa Cover Crop, which sells to the retailer. I make more money on those than corn beans every year. Yeah. The brome was kind of a dud, but I learned stuff, I guess. I think if I really decided I was going to be a brome grower, you could
Make a lot of money.
you could change it so that that would be some of your most profitable acres. The millet.
We'll try. I'm putting a 40 of millet in hopefully next week. So
You said that a cover crop.
no, for seed. We're putting a 40 of millet in, Siberian millet that we found a home for. So we're going to try seeing if we can raise it as a second crop after wheat.
So do you have a winter crop then?
So I don't know what you're doing on yours. I guess you'll have some winter wheat coming.
I'll
back
have
in.
winter wheat, and then I'll have millet. We did a lot of buckwheat last year. Buckwheat's like a short season summer annual. We'll do a lot of that. We did a lot of buckwheat, more than we should have, because we think we helped on taking the buckwheat market from $1 a pound to 15 cents. So
It's
Down.
yeah. The summer stuff we're dabbling in is small enough that a few more players.
like the Siberian millet I'm raising, we think it's a $1 million market, which seems like a lot, but if it works out good for me, I'll raise 800,000 pounds. So I would take all the market in the whole United States off my one field. So if anyone else decided to plant it, then it might not be worth anything. So
I'm raising some mung beans this year, just for the same reason. We can put them into blends at the warehouse. And
You know, I thought cover crop was something you planted in winter and then followed up for following in the spring.
yes,
that's the main part of our business. Is we put stuff on either with the airplane in August, September over the corn and beans, and then harvest it, and it's growing up after you harvest. But we do a lot of summer mixes too, where people are wanting something to graze in the summer, and they just want to plant something that year and get something out of it.
so our customers mostly is buying our seed from us for that cover crop where it gets terminated in the spring, it gets put on in the fall, and terminated in the spring. But Bill and I have to raise these seeds for those customers. So that's how we were kind of trying to talk about this historical society of stock, because we were thinking, what are we doing today that they did in 1910? Roman times, but when Greene County was established. And if you look at Greene County, if you ever look at the old aerial maps, these farms were not very big. They're 160 acres, and they would maybe have 10 acre parcels, 10 acre farms. Some pasture spots, some small grains, all kinds of different things. And the buckwheat, we knew we could raise buckwheat here, because if you look at the historical records of buckwheat in the state of Iowa, there's millions of acres of buckwheat in the 1920s. So we knew we could do it here. And the smooth brome, we knew we could do it because you found a publication from...
Every time I get a harebrained idea, I will Google it, and I'll find an ISU research paper from 1920 saying how this is the future.
And this is how you raise it, because we don't know how to raise it.
Yep.
I asked you about turnips and radishes. Talk about that.
Yeah, we'll go through a couple semi-loads of just turnip and radish seed, which sounds strange, but it's just basically it puts on a big tuber, it soaks up a lot of nitrogen, holds it in a more stabilized form, breaks down slowly for next year's crop. The cows love to eat them. They're terrific protein sources for cows. So we'll mix them in with oats or with rye or whatever, and plant them in the fall or in the spring, however you want to do it, and get a lot of interest out of it. We'll do, I don't remember how many thousands of pounds we did, but yeah, hundreds of thousands of pounds of those just in seed, and there's an incredible amount of seed per, 4 pounds of turnips will do an acre, so cover a lot of ground. A couple pounds of turnips.
So you leave it, you don't harvest.
No, because if you it's really hard to like harvest radishes for seed. We don't have the right climate, essentially.
Long,
They get there.
Yeah, they'll get huge, yeah.
are they carbon sequestration?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're huge gardening because they're just taking all, yeah. All the nutrients.
Most of that stuff is grown, the seed is grown in like the Pacific Northwest. So we work with a lot of dealers out there that are raising some stuff that's it's just a little more temperate out there. Not quite as aggressive with winter, which is what they need.
I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this. Back to the historical thing, you said the 20s, it was buckwheat, and probably a lot of other stuff, the 20s. Are we back, it was at the high and we're down now, we're coming back to the high part again. Are you guys in on the ground floor doing something again?
Are we on the, so I feel like we're on the ground floor of cover crops being adopted throughout the state as being that crop in between like the true primaries of corn and soybeans. Do I think that Iowa's going to go to 5 million acres of buckwheat? Absolutely not, because there's just not enough. There's not enough processing demand for it. The whole industry's set up for corn and soybeans. It takes a lot to switch it. However, there was, I don't know if you've heard about sustainable aviation fuel. They talk about a lot of sustainable aviation fuel. A lot of those feedstuffs for sustainable aviation fuel are actually like oil seeds that aren't traditional crops. So like camelina, see what else? Canola, like so things like that. So that could happen if like government pushes, we need sustainable aviation fuel, then the market will, you get a different crop here.
In Iowa, corn is probably always going to be king, but if the demand for cover crop seed doubles, which it wouldn't take much to do, the supply from the north, which is where we get most of our rye from, we won't be able to logistically handle it, getting it down from that far. So more people will have to raise rye down here for seed just to feed Iowa's cover crop market. So it'll kind of start to feed itself, and there'll be more alternative crops raised just to feed the cover crop market.
There's not very many in the county that's raising rye. Seed.
Not really, but actually Greene County Greenbrier Township is probably like the most diverse crop rotation place in the state. That kind of seems strange, but you have Shriver Farms down there who raises barley, wheat, oats, rye, and then you have Bill that raises and buckwheat, and Bill that raises that. And so like if you go to Greenbrier Township, it's like one of the most like diverse crop places in maybe in the state.
And legs.
And yeah, legs. Yeah. So, but
How many acres is that total between you two farms doing that?
I don't know how.
sub 1,000, I say.
Since it's the
So it'd
biggest
be
place in Iowa,
I
it's
mean,
over a
well,
thousand.
he doesn't have any facts on that. But I mean, it's definitely in Greene County, I'd say probably.
Well,
Probably 2,000 to 3,000 acres
So,
of just.
but in Iowa, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
So you have very many double crop rye, soybeans, and then rye. My nephew did that this year, and I'm afraid
Not like it.
I'm afraid the soybeans might be smashed down when it was harvested.
Oh, the relay crop.
So we have had customers do it. We personally haven't done it.
I combined some yesterday.
Dan, relay. So
My cousin had like 5 acres that he was just kind of trying as an experiment, and I combined it yesterday. The beans looked great, but our combine's not set up to go 2 in a row, so I ran over quite a bit of them. So, but I think if you get the right setup,
I think it would work.
So is that going to be a problem with all these other crops you're talking about harvesting, about machinery, about stuff? When you start
Knowledge.
saying all the stuff you're planting, you have to have different planters, all that, you have to have different combines or whatever. Sure.
different planters and combines per se, like drills and combines can do anything. There's settings for everything. Probably the biggest thing is like the knowledge base that nobody has. So like,
And cleaning it.
and cleaning it, yeah. But like the knowledge base is huge because, you know, one generation ago, everyone knew how to combine oats and everyone knew everything about oats. You ask a farmer now what a bushel of oats weighs, and the average farmer in Greene County won't know that, which is something like like, if you would have asked that in 1930, they would have just laughed at you, right? So like the knowledge base is, and even we don't know anything.
Knowledge base, you said you had 8 crops. So you had to figure out what to plant when. It depends on weather and other conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find out and decide those?
Trial and error.
We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, you know, if it's a winter annual, it needs to be planted in the fall so that it can vernalize over winter. If it's a warm season grass, it wants to be planted in June, more or less. But as far as like exactly when that is, or what seeding rate exactly is the best for seed around here, how much